Look, I need to admit something, and the first thing to admit is I'm not going to be my usual self in this video. See, usually I record them after the gym. After the gym, I have this sort of hour period where I'm full of energy, I'm kind of riding the high of the workout. Today I don't have that. Today I spent that helping my mother with her workout, so we're going to get a less high version of me. Not that highness matters, but that goes into our topic really, because we're talking about the fact that I'm no longer natty. I've switched to the dark side, so let's explore this a little bit. Now, this isn't some sort of clickbait sort of thing. Well, it's true. So, let's start where it really matters. I have started taking a drug. It's been for a while now. Obviously, it's an old newsletter. But I've started taking a drug which is banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency. I know that's some pretty scary stuff. How are you guys ever going to look at me the same before? What is this lion doing on the cams? And why is he not natural? And why does he look like he's natural? Or even worse, a bad natural. That's not what you're thinking. So, I can no longer call myself natural. Now, what is it that has transformed me into this non-natty version of Fletcher? Why am I now a Sith Lord? What has happened? Why am I on my villain arc in my winter arc? I think winter arcs are cringe. I need to stop speaking. But, why did I give up on the path to making natural gains? This isn't really a simple thing. It's honestly part of something you might have thought about a lot when it comes to performance enhancing drugs. Obviously there are illegal and legal performance enhancing drugs, but people like to group all PEDs into one thing. Creatine's a PED. It's legal, so is caffeine. What really draws the line? And so that's why I'm going to talk about my story, why I'm not natural, why my naturalness is weird because it's only a temporary not natty and I can go back to being natural. Not in the same way a bodybuilder can take a ton of steroids. Oh no, it's a spoiler, I'm not taking steroids. But a bodybuilder can't take a ton of steroids and then become natural again. Not how it works. For whatever reason, the thing I'm taking is a bit different, and we'll go into exactly why that is. But I am not taking a steroid. I'm not taking a SERM, I'm not taking a SARM. Those aren't things I'd take. Regardless of whether or not I'm currently natty, which I'm not. Again, we'll go into it. I want to keep the ability to be lifetime natty. Which is, I guess, I'm not a lifetime natty if I haven't been natty for parts, but in the sort of way where I still have the natty status so long as I stop taking what I'm taking. Other people aren't able to do that. That's the lifetime natty I need. Well, not need, but want. And anyway, we're talking about stimulants here. This is the prohibited list. This is like a screenshot from the World Anti-Doping Agency, who basically decide whether or not something's legal or not. Stimulants in competition. In competition, we'll probably touch upon this more. It literally just means when you're competing, you can't take this. If you're training, if you're in the off season, completely fine. But the second you go into a sport where you're following the World Anti-Doping Organization's rules and you're in that competition where you're competing, no, you can't do that. And that wouldn't just be like the season itself, that would more so be the games, especially as a lot of stimulants are, faster acting. So, technically, if I'm not in a competition, I'm natural, I'm good. But, here is the thing, I have ADHD. No one would ever guess it. World's biggest kept secret, and longest kept secret. So, ADHD, the medication for it, is something which takes you from struggling to make your bed. I say that my bed's not made. I actually run out. I ran out of my prescription. I had to go pick it up. I have one pill left, which I kept because I knew it'd be really hard to pick up my prescription. So I'm going to take that on Wednesday, and that'll help me pick up my prescription. That sounds so bad. But I have one pill left currently. And then obviously I'm going to get more. It's going to be a high dosage because we're going through titration, which basically means we're trying to find out the dosage which gives me the best benefits with the least amount of side effects. And currently I have no side effects, so it's working pretty well. Anyway, this is something that actually has really been helping me. Side note, it's very easy to do things with it. I don't know if you've noticed. Oh my goodness, this is actually kind of hilarious in my eyes. But my newsletter, I've had 2 big periods where I haven't had my prescription, okay? And let me show you where these periods are. So if we go to page 3 here, this period the 21st to the 10th, I didn't have my prescription. On the 10th, I got my prescription back. The next one was, where is it? Bum, 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 bum. I don't know where it was, but there was another one in here somewhere. Oh, is it August 15th? No, definitely not if this is when I started. I have no idea when the next one was, but like the two big periods where I've stopped writing entirely have been because my prescriptions ran out. Like it is something that allows me to function, allows me to do the stuff I need to do really simple things you'd think, but end up not being very simple. It just makes a lot of things effortless, which are supposed to be effortless. It's not like making me doing the work effortless. That's still hard, but something like picking a sock up off the floor or turning off the light switch when I'm in bed and it doesn't need to be on. I'm no longer procrastinating for like hours to turn that on. That sounds really sad. Ignore this. This is not something I struggle with. I'm actually making it up. So, me being a functional member of society is what this enables me to do. It puts me on the same page as people who don't have ADHD, essentially. And by doing this, it has not only side effect, but another thing it does, and that is providing an unfair advantage in sports. Not just in one way, but multiple ways. And we're going to talk about the ways in which it happens. Again, I need to point out, because when I threw out this newsletter the first time, someone messaged me and was like, this sounds like you're encouraging people to take stimulants. That is not what this is about. What this is about is talking about and bringing a light upon motivating recruitment, how that can benefit workouts, how we can use it to grow more, and not by taking ADHD medication, but by doing other things in order to raise that. And it's just a personal story, sharing some of the stuff I'm going through, some of the struggles I'm going through, and hopefully that makes me feel a little bit more human than just a guy who sits here and pretends he's infallible. Also, another side note, recently I've actually gone back to go through every single video, and I've privated a lot of them. I privated ones I know have mistakes in, because I'm going to keep them there. I don't want my mistakes to be, swept under the rug. I don't think that's right. I think my mistakes, the things I've said in the past which weren't true, at least aren't true now, but back on the knowledge we had back then were. I don't want them to stay there. I want them to be kept in a way where you can look back, you can say Fletcher used to recommend rubbish, but in the comments I say, look, I no longer believe this. Here's my actual view on this. And what that means is people are able to think that I'm actually not switching my lane. If I hit them, it kind of just shows I knew I was wrong. I know I was wrong, but I don't want it to be disappeared, because I'm not infallible. I will make mistakes. I will misinterpret things. And going forward on this channel, it's about owning up to those past mistakes and working on giving people better tools for the future. So, again, unrelated. This will not provide steroid level gains, and also, please, genuinely, not a public service announcement for people to go take stimulants. But you know what? Actually, if you're going to take a stimulant, take caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant. There we go. Now we've found the use case for people who don't have ADHD and aren't using it for proper reasons. So this will definitely help. I don't know if anyone remembers this guy or knows who this is, but you should. I've used him in many thumbnails, in many videos. This is Mike Mentzer. Mike Mentzer is the funny moustache man in bodybuilding. He is not the normal funny moustache man. And recently, he's blown up. When training to failure, high intensity training, when all this stuff came back up, he picked up. He has a very, very nice way of speaking. He's very eloquent. He's very good at his words. He knows really good words. He's a bro scientist who turned science follower. So he's got a lot of good things going for him. And of course, that means whenever he comes back up as a trend, he usually sticks. And there are people who remain diehard supporters of him. But his gym pre-workout was not creatine. It was not the bubblegum flavored glorified caffeine water. He was taking something else. And a lot of people get this wrong. He was not taking meth. That's some horrible rumor that's been spread around. It's not true. What he was taking was medical grade amphetamines. Now, I don't know if this man had ADHD, but a big motivator for him taking this as a pre-workout was the sports performance enhancement. Now, yeah, subscribe to my newsletter, guys. That was a pop-up telling people to subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel or not subscribed to the newsletter, please do that. You will learn a lot and you will make a lot of progress from it. So let's go into this. Amphetamines give athletes advantages. They increase explosive power, they increase muscle strength, they give a higher reaction speed, they improve cardio, and they suppress appetite. Now, to be completely honest, most of these are grouped. The explosive power, the muscle strength, the reaction speed, well, not really the reaction speed, but the first two are grouped together. And obviously when you look at every single one on the list, even if we don't say by which degree it helps, you can obviously see that it's going to be useful. But I'm going to bring it to me, an N equals 1 study, an anecdote. Let's talk about my own journey, my own struggles, how it's helping me. So, for a while now, I have been in a cut. And throughout this time, the cut has not been good. Well, it has been good, actually, since I started getting this medication. It really put me into a positive snowball. But, well, other things were involved. Like, I used to have a very regular marketing job. I no longer have that. I'm still a marketer at heart. But when you have ADHD, it's very, very easy to overeat. And this is because part of the things you use for stimulation with ADHD is food. Food is dopamine. Or at least it has a dopaminergic, I don't know the right word to use. It has a response of dopamine in the body if you have the right food. Now, this isn't everyone's, thing of choice. For me, it definitely was. And this would set me back a lot in my progress because I'd have a lot of, consistent, really good dieting. And then I'd have a really, really, not really tough, but just a work week that sucked a lot out of me. And when that happens, I'd have to kind of get stimulation somewhere. So after work, I'm at an all-time low when it comes to stimulation. All I need is stimulation. And what I would do is, for a while, I didn't have anything to eat. By the way, I actually fixed this by getting microwave meals that were already done, but that's not the point. At this time in time, I was cooking food. So after work, I'm really, really hungry, and I'm like, I can't cook. I just don't have it in me. So I would go to the store, and I'd be like, okay, we'll just get like a ready-made meal sort of thing, or I'll get a couple things to put together because we didn't even have anything at home. And then it would be like, you know what, I'll get this goo dessert, whatever. And then it'd be like, if I'm getting a goo dessert, I might as well get some custard. And then I'd be like, you know what, we've got the goo dessert and the custard, but I think we also need like a cookie to balance this out. And then it'd be like, I haven't had Doritos in a while. Maybe I should get some Doritos too. And very, very easily, I'd start adding things, and without really showing too much, I was going to bring up my expenses because I track everything. But long story short, this happened even when I had the microwave meals too. Not too as large of a deal, but my microwave meals covered all of my meals, and it cost about $400 a month. I'll be honest, I was making a loss with a proper job because of the amount I had to spend. Well, I didn't have to, but because of the amount I was spending on food and whatnot. I'm not happy about it. It's whatever though. But I would spend about $400 a month on normal food. It's fine. You shove it in the microwave, that's good. But I never really let go of the the habitual going to the store and getting stuff and kind of overloading and over, because my average spend would be like 20 to 50 just on a bunch of junk. And this wouldn't happen every single day, but it would happen more often than not. And there usually would be a daily sort of sweet treat thing. But this sort of snowball of adding and rationalizing would just get in the way of that cut, because it would usually have this cycle of a small dip followed by honestly more weight gain. And it happened too many times. I'm not the happiest about it, but again, there's not really anything you can do about things like this other than try your hardest to prevent them from happening. But if we can get a visual demonstration, this is kind of like my weight throughout history. You can see that there's been a few attempts of cutting. There's cut 1, cut 2, and cut 3. Cut 3 is not in employment, okay? Well, not in a really regular fixed hours, kind of not stressful, but I like jobs that have constant stimulation and jobs which are dedicated to a day. That's a whole nother story. But for me, I'm the type of person where I want a 16-hour workday, and it's literally one thing, and I know that entire day is dedicated to that. There's nothing else I have to do on that day, and it's also constant stimulation. When I was working, it sounds like it's like, what's the big deal, Fletcher? But I was doing 4-hour work days. There was never constant stimulation, and that was really, really bad for me, which sounds really weird because like, how are you going to be better at a 16-hour work day than not a 16-hour work day? Like, it doesn't really make any sense, but that's besides the point. Cut 1 and 2 was when I was in employment. You can see what happens. I stick to it, and then it's a bit of a stressful season at work. You know, the hours pick up. I go from like 2 days a week to 5. I don't have like meal prep existing or like microwave. I find something that works and it allows me to do it for a little bit, and then something gets too bad at work where it rebounds, right? And so there's this kind of like rebound, lose, rebound, lose. And then obviously you can see that since employment doesn't exist, it's just been continuously down in the exact way I want it to be. So I couldn't be happier with that. And it is strange how, honestly, again, another side note, I'm making less money now than when I had my marketing gig, and I'm spending less, significantly less. Like, I'm spending about a third of what I used to spend, which means I'm actually coming out each month with more money than I used to, making a lot less as well. Really, really weird. I am hoping that this stuff here, this online coaching picks up and we're able to get some groups running, some groups running properly, some income coming in from there, and that can like support my life a little bit more. I can get a bit of a nicer place, maybe improve the diet a bit, and just help balance things a bit more. But that's besides the point. I don't want to talk about the things I want and the things I need. You don't care about that. You want to know what I can do for you. So this is good for a bulk, is what I threw in this newsletter. As you might know, bulking is something I'm a bit indifferent to, other than for fat gain. Doesn't really matter. The point is still the same. Being able to eat a ton and have like those 20, 50 pound shopping carts full of junk, very good for gaining weight, not for cutting. And sometimes what happens here is a cut ends up stalling, whether it be gaining weight or staying at maintenance for a month because of those few bad choices. Remember, it only takes a few days of eating a junk binge almost, to reverse a deficit. It's really that easy. And that's why, for me at least, the biggest benefit from medication is suppressed appetite, which is one of the things that, I don't know if you saw earlier, but it's one of the things that my medication does. It's not just suppressed appetite though, in the sense of the medication makes it easier to kind of curb that hunger. It's also the fact that it provides the level of stimulation I need to function means that I'm never chasing food for more dopamine, right? And they both go hand in hand to make it really easy for me to cut. Because one, I don't really get the hunger signals. Doesn't mean I can't eat as much as before. I can still do that. But that added with the constant stimulation means that I'm just good, right? Even if it wasn't suppressing my hunger, I would still be just as able to cut as without it. And then the second benefit is something where, if you've watched a few of my videos, if you've read a few of my newsletters, you will know that the reason why amphetamines increase explosive power and muscle strength is because they stimulate the CNS. They are known as a CNS stimulant, and this is what determines motor unit recruitment. Now, something to add on, I don't actually take amphetamines, I take something different, but for the purpose of whatever, you know what the word means, and we're going to keep using it. So, what this essentially means is when you take amphetamines, your body can have a higher percentage of muscle fibers recruited. And if you have seen Mob Psycho, there's this GIF I threw in because I thought it was really cool, of when he's like, I think this is mad, I think this might be mad, when he's using the emotion mad and he goes up to 100% or whatever, just like a way of demonstrating using all of our power. It's quite lame, but this is me when I recruit 100% of my muscle fibers after taking my medication. But it's the same reason why you're stronger after drinking caffeine. And if you're ever in the gym and you're getting hyped up for a friend, by a friend, you get more reps out. So this is really like the takeaway that you can use, because obviously you're not going to be able to just casually get amphetamines, and if you're not able to get it casually, do not get it. It's going to do way more harm than good. But caffeine is something that's going to help you. Music, something that's going to help you. Being happy, sounds a bit strange, it's something that's going to help you. Having very low fatigue, having good form, having longer rest periods, being with a friend, being motivated by them, looking in your logbook, trying to beat the previous week's set. All of these let you get more reps, recruit more of your muscle fibers, and ultimately get more gains. So what happens when I take my medication is it gives me a level of recruitment which is higher than a few of these combined. Maybe not all of them, maybe not significantly higher, but it gives me that slight edge. And the second benefit, is that I can recruit more muscle fibers. Something people might be wondering here is, won't this just make me fatigued, Fletcher? And the thing is, it actually will. But in the process of getting that extra fatigue from mainly muscle damage, because past the workout itself, our actual fatigue comes from that sustained muscle damage rather than anything else. It's not the heavy weights we move. Our brain forgets that very quickly. Well, not really our brain, but our whole central nervous system. And what this means is, because I can recruit more muscle fibers, especially the ones higher up on this motor unit pool, I mean, they're the ones with the highest growth potential, and I'll get more growth overall, which is pretty crazy. But when I first took this, I literally noticed an instant increase in reps. We're talking 2 or 3. It's like you add creatine in, you start having caffeine in a session, you go to the gym with friends, you will notice how quickly the strength increase comes, and how you honestly see some like explosive growth instantly in an area for like no real reason. But there is one problem when you do this. Whenever you have a period of time in which motor unit recruitment occurs, you get DOMs coming back. The soreness returns, and it goes very quickly. But if you hate being sore like anyone does, then it comes back. I'm so sorry. But the only reason it comes back is because we're recruiting fibers that previously weren't activated, which means they're prone to soreness. We don't really know what causes soreness, but we know it has something to do with the muscle fibers themselves. So when we recruit ones that previously aren't used, they're going to get sore. Just like how when we first start the gym or when we come back from being detrained, we're going to get sore. This led to me not being able to walk. But motor unit recruitment is everything. It's not entirely everything. It's kind of like what we're aiming the growth at. Obviously, mechanical tension being the stimulus itself, the demand is going to be just as influential in that. But when you fix fatigue, when you start training properly, when you use good volume, you'll notice being sore like overnight. And it didn't occur to me why for a while, until I really sat down and thought about, what's actually going here. Why are we getting sore out of nowhere when we're doing less? But it's because we're tapping into new muscle fibers. But I want to point out, if you're coming out of an intermediate stage, it's going to be hard to access muscle fibers that have the most growth potential, because most of our growth is going to be coming from that. Think about it. The ones lower down on this scale have already been tapped out, especially the really, really slow twitch ones. They're pretty much instantly tapped out. For some people, they might even be tapped out for daily life. And because of this, if you've been seriously lifting for over like 5 years, then honestly, increasing motor unit recruitment is something necessary to actually keep seeing growth. So, again, with a takeaway, listen to music you enjoy. Be really, really, honestly, boss girl or whatever it's called when you make this playlist. Don't let any sort of song in there you don't like stay in there. The second you hear it in, the gym and you're like, I don't like this. The second it doesn't hit right, remove it. Eliminate it. Put it in front of the firing squad. It's not going to be there in your workout if it's not going to help you feel hyped. Take pre-workout. When it comes to pre-workout, honestly, the thing that matters the most is obviously the caffeine and some other stimulants, but just find one you like, you vibe with, you like the flavor, make it a bit of a ritual. The second you take that, you're going to start feeling the hype, you're going to start knowing in your head, you're going to start crushing the session. That's going to help too, not just the pre-workout itself. Work out with friends if you can work out with friends, if you have friends, if you like that, if they help the workout. Because when they're there cheering you on, you're going to get more reps out. Unless you are weird and don't really like that sort of social side. Then, make sure your fatigue isn't too high. We have a lot on this channel about proper programming to make sure that you're not having high fatigue. After that, Make sure you're getting 3-minute rest minimum so that we're actually able to clear that peripheral fatigue and maybe some of the supraspinal and cardiovascular to be able to smash the next set. That's going to be a part of motivated recruitment too. And of course, stay locked in. Don't scroll on your phone. Don't scroll on social media talking to your mum about buying lettuce from the store because it was forgotten or something. You want to focus on what truly matters. Looking at your logbook, concentrating on the next step, really focusing on beating the previous version of yourself. And this is where your future gains will be coming from primarily. The second we can get you accessing those hard to reach fibers and obviously getting sore again. Not that soreness is ever an indicator of a good workout unless we're using it as an indicator of motivated recruitment, when it can be an indicator of your motivated recruitment. Know if you increase volume and you see soreness, it doesn't mean that you've got more motivated recruitment. It just means that we're giving a not a stimulus, well, in some ways we're stressing the muscle fiber in a way it doesn't usually experience. So no, but the same works for longer length stuff. Do not think longer length stuff is improving your motivated recruitment there. It's just something the muscle isn't used to. So if you haven't done any of this properly, I have a YouTube video talking about how much volume you should be using. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe to my newsletter, go watch that video or go read the newsletter, whichever you want. And last but not least, most importantly, leave a like. No. Last but not least, please do not use this as a promotion to buy amphetamines. If you have ADHD and you're talking to a doctor and your doctor has prescribed you amphetamines, sure, take them. If you are someone who wants to push more in the gym, just get caffeine, just motivate yourself more. If you have to do it with a drug, does it really count? Unless you're me, because I'm not doing it for that. It's just something for life and it's important.